Mike Damergis for the King Scott Engel for Roto Experts at the Park for the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm here with the King Scott Engel. And Scott, we went into the Arizona Diamondbacks locker room today, and boy, this is an impressive young team, and it all starts with their first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt, the first player in Diamondbacks history to be named to the All-Star team 3 times. But more importantly for fantasy players, he has been everything they wanted in a first-round pick or a high auction bid and more. He has career highs so far in his isolated power, his walk percentage, his strikeout percentage is down. The BABIP right now, as we speak, is over 400. It points to minor regression, but he has been everything that you absolutely wanted in a fantasy player. You've gotten the return. He stayed healthy this year, too.
And our Cub reporter, Kevin Walsh, caught up with Goldschmidt, and he said, don't get too excited. We're only at the All-Star break so far.
No, I know it's been a good start, but we're only about halfway there, so we'll see how it finishes up. I think I've just tried to take it day by day. I mean, it's nothing that I've done any different from years past, and hopefully just keep it going. Just try to every day keep learning, get better, and see what happens.
So Goldschmidt not getting too excited yet, but should fantasy owners take into consideration his high BABIP and maybe sell high on him?
Even if you play in a keeper league, I wouldn't sell high on Goldschmidt. This is your anchor of your fantasy team, and you got to get a superstar back if you give up a superstar. It really depends on your league structure and where you are in the league standings. I'm not averse to trading anybody, Mike, but Goldschmidt has to you got to get a heck of a return back. If you're down in the standings somehow and you got to make a bold move in a Roto league, yeah, you can do it. But if you're high in the standings, it's going to be very hard to pry him away. And even in a keeper league, if you're down in the standings, this guy is going to be the anchor of your team for years. You really got to get a great return back.
And moving from one All-Star to the other, AJ Pollock really making some fantasy news.
Yeah, AJ Pollock has been a terrific value pick. He's heading to the All-Star game for the first time this year, Mike, along with Goldschmidt. But they've been All-Stars before together in the Southern League in the minors. So AJ's pretty excited about that when I spoke to him today. But with AJ Pollock, look, everything crystallized for him last year. They were saying that in the Arizona Republic, where he really just started to get things. Things started to come together for him last year. It was just a matter of injuries ending his season early. And a lot of people were scared off about Pollock because, they were worried about his health. But anybody that was willing to take the value selection on him in the middle to later rounds, they've got more than enough of a return.
And bench coach Glenn Sherlock said that Pollock's really coming into his own.
AJ's a really good ball player, plays a great center field. He's been getting some big hits for us, with some runners in scoring position. He's just getting better and better.
Moving from the offense to the pitching, how about the young lefty Patrick Corbin, who's recovering from Tommy John surgery? A lot of fantasy owners have been stashing him and waiting for his return.
Yeah, and they finally saw it on July 4th when he got 5 innings and got a win. The thing with Corbin is, if you look at his 2013 game logs, he's going to go a lot deeper into games. You can get a good 7-8 innings out of him when he starts getting his rhythm. He told me the elbow's feeling really good. You look at this 2013 season, he had an incredible first half where he was 11-1 with a 2.35 ERA and made the All-Star team. Then in the second half, the ERA was well over 5. I don't think he's either the pitcher you saw in the first half or the one you saw in the second half. Somewhere in the middle, if you're waiting for him to come back, he makes a really nice 5th or 6th starter on your fantasy team, and a great stash for National League only players. They've been patiently waiting for this.
And the pitching coach, Mike Harkey, said that he's kind of where they expected him to be, but they may pull him when he gets to a certain pitching count, and he might not like that.
We're going to be cautious with him, obviously, just like, the Mets were cautious with Harvey. I mean, we're going to take the same approach, His best interest is always going to be at heart, especially when we're playing games, and we're probably going to take him out sooner than you probably would normally.
And staying with the pitching, Robbie Ray, the 23-year-old lefty from Tennessee, also a former teammate of Max Scherzer, and his fantasy value has really been rising.
Yeah, ever since he came up on June 5th, he's been a nice find for all fantasy players, especially National League only players. He's got a 255 BABIP, which definitely points to some regression. Take what you can get out of Ray while you can get it. But, talking to him and about how Scherzer told him to calm the game down, this guy's got a good mental makeup that sometimes the numbers don't always point to everything. So it wouldn't be surprising if some of the success continues.
And we caught up with Ray, and he said that in spring training he worked on some other pitches besides the fastball and talked about those discussions way back in Detroit with Scherzer.
Yeah, it was something that we focused on during spring, was working on that slider and, just getting a consistent spin on the ball. And whatever the pitch was, either a curveball, slider, whatever it came out to be, just having something that was consistent. We just sat down and casually talked, during the games about the middle side of baseball and how to approach it. It was a huge thing for me, being a rookie and being able to talk to such a good pitcher like Max Scherzer. It was exciting to learn from him and be able to pick his brain a little bit.
And Scott, how could I forget David Peralta, the 27-year-old Venezuelan who moved from being a pitcher now to the offense?
Yeah, very unique background. Started out as a pitcher, got cut by St. Louis, and then ended up in the independent leagues, but has made his way back as an outfielder. And you wonder if that gives him an advantage because he knows what pitchers are thinking, because he hits very well with runners in scoring position. This was a guy that started to make some noise late last season, and there really wasn't a place for him in the outfield entering the season, but when the Diamondbacks traded Mark Trumbo, it opened up a spot for him, and now he's been a really steady, about fifth outfielder for fantasy players in mixed leagues. Good combination of power and speed.
And Glenn Sherlock said he fits right into the Arizona lineup.
Great story. He's a super kid, works extremely hard, very strong, very aggressive. But he just fits into our lineup so good, He doesn't try to do too much. He just tries to contribute any way he can.
All right, Scott, that wraps things up for Roto Experts at the Park. He's the King Scott Engel, and I'm Mike Damergis.